The Community Education Channel presents Community View, a closer look inside community issues that matter. It's a glimpse, a preview highlighting issues and events important to the community, bringing public perception to light on local community issues that make a difference.
Hello and welcome to Community View. I'm Melissa Anderson. You know, it's something we don't often think about until it happens, and that's fire, especially when it happens in our homes. With us today to talk about the importance of the protection of fire, against fire, is St. George Fire Chief Robert Stoker. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for being on the show. Now, what comes to mind to me the most is watching the news and seeing all those homes that are burning down in California and just the catastrophic events that happen. This is exactly important why we should have a great fire force as well as volunteers to help us out.
Yeah, it's devastating to watch those fires down there and the damage that it causes and the people's lives that it changes. So, and that can happen anywhere. You know, California is notorious for that with the Santa Ana winds, and now they're built up in those urban wildland areas. But it can happen right here in the middle of St. George. A few years ago, we had a fire similar to that on Diagonal Street, where it got into the brush and the homes, and it doesn't need to be in those hilly, mountainous areas. It can be right in your own backyard that we can have those issues. So being prepared and being fire-wise and fire safety-minded really can pay off for your own home right here in the city.
Well, and the city of St. George is growing by leaps and bounds. Tell us about how there's a need now for new fire stations just because we've got such a population growth.
Yeah, we're really seeing the growth again over the last several years. Right now we currently run out of 7 fire stations. We closed the station there on North Main Street last year when the city sold it, and so we do have 7 stations that we run out of. 3 of those are currently staffed full-time. The others are on call with reserve firefighters, and then also the staff stations have reserves assigned there also. We met with City Council a couple weeks ago on our future site plans for the city as we grow, and then also currently what we're doing. We've hired additional firefighters. We have approved 46 full-time staff with 50 reserve firefighters and then some part-time firefighters that we use for our service model. But we'll be looking at staffing Fire Station 6 over on 2450 East probably after the first of the year. We did hire 9 firefighters to staff our station that's proposed down in the Little Valley area. We've been a little bit delayed in that area just for some development reasons, but we currently have those staff that are hired, and we have them integrated with our existing crews. So we'll move some of our crews over to Station 6 on 2450 East and help alleviate some of the call volume on our Station 1 station on 1000 East. So
obviously, when fires happen, people have to realize that you have to have staff to do that. This all costs money though, because you have to have fire equipment as well, right?
Yes.
And so are you going to have to purchase some more equipment, or?
Right now we were able to purchase 4 new pumpers and a new ladder truck a few years ago. We do have 1 engine that we'll be able to place in service, one of our newer engines over at Station 6, along with our on-call apparatus. So, but they are expensive. We did a lease-to-own program on these last apparatus that we purchased. This year was our last lease payment on those, so it is expensive endeavor to be in public safety and provide these services.
Cost to plan ahead, right?
Yes.
So, and people don't realize that if you're in a fire area or a zone that isn't well staffed for firefighters, that your insurance could go higher, or you could be labeled with a higher rate. Yes,
the insurance ISO is what we call insurance office, comes in and does our insurance rating every few years, our ISO rating. The rating is from a 1 to a 10, 1 being the best, 10 being with no fire protection. Mm-hmm. Right now we're a split classification of a 3 and a 3X. The 3X is if there's a structure within the city that's 1,000 miles away or 1,000 feet away from a fire hydrant. Our department's out of the general fund of the city.
That's what I was just going to ask.
And so we compete for funding with the other general fund departments. But we do have our impact fees, so new growth does pay for fire stations and those kind of things. So right now we're looking at building our Station 9 that's out in Little Valley. We have that property purchased, and we're just trying to get started on that with hopefully the next few months. But again, the impact fees are there so that new construction and new building actually pays for those services. But there is a lag time between the time we can build those. We looked at our impact study that we're redoing, the city's redoing, and we're taking a look at where we need stations, and that's fluid. It changes throughout the years, but we try to look at that about every 4 to 5 years to make sure that where we projected a station might go is still the case. You know, we looked at the ledges a few years ago. When the economy slowed down, ended up, the growth didn't happen as we projected. And so Sun River was actually our next area that needed a station. We built that station, and with Winchester Hills, we have an automatic aid agreement with them, and so with their department, and so it kind of helps us up there with fire protection right now. We still respond up there, but we have them respond with us also. So we're looking at a couple stations on the South Block, Desert Color, Desert Canyons area. We're looking at a station in the Ledges, and then one possibly out by the Tonic area of the city. So as the city moves around with growth and population, you know, those things change. Like I say, when ISO rates us, it's by road miles, or we go by response times. Both of those pretty correlate together. And so when, like the Mall Bridge opened, Mall Drive Bridge over on 3000 East, that really opened that area up to our Station 6, where they could now cross the Virgin River, and it opened up our response times and decreased those on that area. So we just look at what's happening within the city and try to plan out, you know, 10, 15 years, and then in our budgeting process, we go at least a 5-year, you know, projection to see what apparatus and staffing and equipment needs that we'll have within those years.
Well, just like water, you got to have fluidity.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll keep everybody up to date on the future of our fire departments, and I'm sure there'll be more to come.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
it's great
you.
to be here.
And don't forget that we just daylight savings time ended, and you should check the batteries in your smoke detector while we're talking about it, so you can stay safe, and always have a plan in your house in order to escape in case of a fire. Thanks for watching. We hope you have a great day.